We are pleased to host Mr. Ramesh Chander, the Consul General of India in Edinburgh. Mr. Chander has served in various diplomatic postings in Beijing, in Yemen, Sri Lanka, Sweden, Uganda, Japan, and the Czech Republic, as well as in the Ministry for External Affairs in New Delhi, before coming here in May to serve as Consul General in Edinburgh. Today the topic of discussion will be India's foreign policy in the 21st century. And with that, I give you the Consul.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. I think let it not be a speech. I would be happy if we can make it a little more interactive. I will give you some basic information in my statement, but then I think we can if there are any questions or if there are any specific things to mention or discuss, I'm available for that. I think most of you are students, and some of them are on the teaching faculty or otherwise interested in politics. This is the composition of our audience. Very good. From the composition of the audience, it appears that they are already very much engaged and very much knowledgeable about the foreign policies, and they must be following the Indian foreign policy also. India is a young nation, you understand. It is the 60th anniversary of our independence since 1947. We got our independence from the colonial rule of British rule in August 1947. India has completed 60 years of existence as a modern, democratic, independent and sovereign nation. The country is in the process of consolidating its national identity and ensuring its place and role in the world. Several factors have been instrumental in shaping India's foreign policy. India was first among former colonial countries to join the international community in 1947. India was the first country which was not involved in the process of equations of the Cold War in the post-Second World War scenario. India was the first country capable of representing the emerging political aspirations of the countries later came to be known as developing world. This is the scenario when we started as a sovereign, independent country. And of course, the scenario, we changed the Commonwealth rules of the game after India got independence, because India as a sovereign state, as an independent full sovereign state, became a member of the Commonwealth, and some of the rules of the Commonwealth were changed with that development. Primary and initial foreign policy concerns of India remained. I'm just giving you an overview of how we started, what we got and what happened, then we can start something else. Concerns were territorial consolidation in the wake of partition. When I say this, you know there were about 400 princely states. Partition took place. Some of the princely states were on the border of Pakistan and India. That created a problem. And how to consolidate the princely states, which the Independence Act of 1947 passed by the British Parliament allowed them to be independent as it is. So that consolidation. The second concern was support to the struggle for freedom and liberation of colonial countries in Africa and elsewhere. Firm support to the anti-apartheid movement, friendly and harmonious relationship with the neighboring countries. And in this regard, yes, neighboring countries, India is a large country, we have smaller countries nearby in the periphery, but a big country like China. And at the same time, in 1948, China got independent, revolution took place, and India was the first country to recognize China and advocated its admission to the UN. India's response to these concerns was decisive political military postures in consolidating the territorial integrity of India, a non-aligned stance in Cold War confrontation, attempting to establish friendly relations with US and the Soviet Union, cultivating friendly equations with China, efforts to unite newly independent countries on matters of common concern pertaining to peace and development. So this was the scenario when we started after 1947. India's foreign policy stances achieved a fair amount of success also. But there were some disappointments, like problems with Pakistan immediately after independence. Kashmir started some problem. Demarcation of boundary with our immediate and large neighbor China. Both the superpowers, the US and the Soviet Union, have had some suspicion about India's role as non-aligned country and non-partisan country. And the UK government, the post in the 1950 Churchill's return to power in early 1950s, did not help India's relations with UK. Though the momentum of the colonial connections and the new Commonwealth equation helped in sustaining the relations. Pro-Pakistani tilt in the UK policy formulations, both in Foreign Office and in the defense establishments, resulted in some undercurrents of tension. But these difficulties, despite these difficulties, India's credibility as a non-partisan and non-aligned country, deeply committed to peace and to the declared objectives of the UN, were recognized and resulted in international trust. That led to India's role in Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia in international peace. India always led the formulation of international commissions for establishment of peace in that region. And consolidation of our neighborhood, special treaty with Nepal, special treaty with Bhutan, special arrangements with Sri Lanka, and our efforts to normalize the relationship with Pakistan. I think finally Churchill also saw this point. Churchill wrote to Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, in 1955, February 1955, "The light of Asia, it seemed," I'm just quoting Churchill, "the light of Asia, it seems to me that you might be able to do what no other human being could in giving India the lead, at least in the realm of thought, throughout Asia, and freedom and dignity of the individual as the ideal rather than the Communist Party drill book." It was a reluctant acknowledgement of the logic of non-alignment and the potentialities of India as a basin of freedom and stability in the international relations. So this is what in the initial stages India's foreign policy formulations were. But it's a matter of evolution. You might also see that Indian policy formulations never took any abrupt turn. It remained a matter of evolution, slow, but on considered postures. At independence, it was natural that the primary task of India's foreign and security policies, were to enable India to begin the process of economic and social transformation that a poor and a backward country required. The immediate objectives were therefore a peaceful environment, strategic space and autonomy, free of entanglement with Cold War conflicts and alliances. Non-alignment, as this policy was called, was the ability to judge issues on their merit and their effect on India's interests, or as our first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru used to say, enlightened self-interest. So that was the policy immediately after independence. 6 days later, now we are in the 60th year of our independence, we face a different world. The end of Cold War